Hey guys, it's your boy Zach. I'm going to talk today about an idea that I have for a project. Normally, I don't talk about stuff until I build it, but this is a little different because, you know, this idea has no purpose unless other people are interested in it. So I want to gauge your interest, get some feedback while I'm building it, rather than waiting till the end. So the idea is I would like to build a modern BBS, all right? And I assume most of you know what a BBS is. They're from a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I'm getting a lot of mileage out of this ANSI art, aren't I? It stands for Bulletin Board System, and they were the precursors of modern web forums and websites like Reddit. Probably more sophisticated than you think. It wasn't just text discussions. There was file sharing. You could even play games in a lot of them. But nonetheless, in the 90s, they were gradually replaced by the web, often for good reasons. But a lot has changed since then, hasn't it? And the web today doesn't look anything like it did back then. And so the question is it time for a return of the BBS? Well, you can probably guess my answer because why would I be talking about this if I thought the answer was no? And the reason why is because the web today is an absolute dumpster fire of complexity. It's so bloated. It is no longer just hyperlinked documents. It's a rich application platform, for better or worse. And I don't know. To me, it feels like late 80s Soviet Union. You got this massive system buckling under the weight of its own complexity. And there are a lot of ways to look at that. You can look at the fact that it's virtually impossible to implement a browser from scratch if you want to support all the standards, across HTML, CSS, JavaScript, everything. We're long past the days when one person like Mark Andreessen could just make a browser by himself and be able to view the entire web. Today, a $1 trillion corporation like Microsoft has given up in producing their own web browser, and instead they just are making a skin on top of Chrome. And I don't think it's for lack of resources. I think it's because the problem is basically intractable now, and there's nothing that anyone can do about it. And there are a lot of downstream problems that result from that. These privacy violations, which are enabled by this massive surface area of complexity. It's not just cookies now. You can track people in a myriad of different ways because of all the different features that browsers support. And so I see it as, unfixable in its current state. It is a massive dumpster fire. And that being said, I don't want to be fully negative here because even dumpster fires can be useful. And the web is a useful dumpster fire. I use it every day. You probably do. And it's got a lot of things going for it, even in its current state. Chief among them, I believe, is the fact that everything is basically addressable. That address bar is the killer feature. And, it's a little bit less useful now with single page applications, but it's still a killer feature. And, there's a lot that is good about the web. But nonetheless, I don't want to be a negative Nancy here, but I think that that it is overused. We're at a point now where people don't even think beyond the browser when they're developing something. And whereas I would like to channel Bender and take my ball and go home, because I think we're stuck in a certain place where, there's really no progressing unless we try something new. And when we do try something new, it's not going to be as powerful. That's a given. There's no way it could be. But that's okay. I talked about this in my in my anti-wave video. I think limitations are good because constraints inspire creativity. They're a prerequisite, I think, for creativity. If you have no constraints at all, then you tend to face a certain paradox of choice. Whereas if you have a lot of constraints, you are motivated to see what you can do, what sorts of creative solutions you can come up with to make the most of those constraints. So the fact that the thing that we build is less powerful is not a bad thing, it's a good thing. And so what am I talking about? ET, apparently. No. I'm talking about a BBS. A modern BBS, not one that uses the technology of original BBSs. You don't need a telnet into it. That's not the point. I just want to build something that has the look and feel and spirit of a BBS. And in the beginning, it'll just basically be a discussion system, just simple threaded discussions. I would like the first client to be a terminal client. In fact, I might even build it into AnsiWave itself. So it'll run in your terminal, but that doesn't mean it could only be accessed from a terminal. You could build clients. You could even build a web portal. I don't care. I'm not opposed to that. I just don't want to be reliant on the web. I'm okay with having a really accessible way for people to try it. But I would like the reference implementation to be in the terminal. It's a really useful design constraint that it has to run in the terminal, and it will make sure that we keep that retro look and feel, which is important. And I'd like to use AnsiWave, obviously. I would like the post to be written with AnsiWave because it's already a little text editor, but also you can draw ANSI art and you can make MIDI music. So out of the box, we have that functionality in a discussion board, which I think would be really awesome. And as for networking, that's the real question mark here, because the editor part is done. It's here, it's usable. But for networking, I like to use Matrix, which you may know of as the chat protocol, but it's really more generic than that. It's more like a content federation protocol, and a way for servers to replicate content. And I would like to use it as the protocol here, so that anyone can run the server if they wish, and each server can host their own boards, but anyone accessing one server can post to a board on another server. And the content would be replicated the same way that Matrix does for chat rooms. And so that way it can remain decentralized like email, and anyone can run a server. I don't want to make a walled garden. I don't want to make a silo. I want something where anyone can compete with me. And later on, we can add other things, including real-time chat. If we're using Matrix already, then that should be straightforward. And I would like to do games. I like games, and it would be really great to have a little scripting system to build games and share them inside of these boards. And you could access them and play them, even play them directly in your terminal. But that's more in the future. It's not something I would do in the first version. For starters, it would just be basically like Reddit, but retro and decentralized, if that makes any sense at all. Anyway, that's all I got really right now. I made a little thread on the AnsiWave subreddit, so if you want to talk about it, share ideas, then I'll post the link in the description. You can come on there. But it's going to be a little while before I have something to show. I have written stuff. I've actually written a lot of code to implement Matrix, but it's just not ready right now. And I also have a job, so I need to do this in my free time. And so I would say maybe later this year, I could have some kind of alpha version that you could try. And it's going to be weird. It's going to be impractical. And people are going to ask what the point is. And they're going to be missing the point. So that's it. I guess I can't do my normal, well, I can do my sign off, but I have to do it in future tense. So I hope you will like it. If not, then screw you.